What is shaking, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you. A lot to get into today, so let's thank our sponsor, Fieldwork, over at China Basin. You going to a Giants game this week, hit up the beer garden over there before you go to the game, or if you're not going to the game, just sit across from a Covey Cove, grab yourself a beer, watch it on the big screen, and enjoy. Mission Rock will be opening soon, and we're going to be bouncing around doing a few shows with some Fieldworks here in the not too distant future. So non-alcoholic beer, fully leaded beer, all the good stuff. Look, when it comes to college athletics, there's one man I turn to, the Wilner Hotline, Bay Area News Group, Jon Wilner. If you're not following him and you love college sports, well, then you're missing out. You should be. John, what? I feel stupid going, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. It's funny. You're the one man I turn to when it comes to sports gambling. And so it's perfect.
It's a perfect confluence. I was telling John before we started, like, my surprise level has dropped significantly vis-a-vis college athletics, if I can borrow a Ralphism, over the years. Even this one, like, shocked me a little bit. Like, was it like at what point, I guess just now, you could bet on your own team, and so you could bet on your own sport, you could bet on your own team in sports, and look, it doesn't matter how much, because it wasn't a lot, it was just a lot of bets, it wasn't a lot of money. But John, I mean, is college football or is college athletics the only place where you could bet on your own team and the league not immediately suspend you, kick you out, and probably terminate you for your life?
Yeah, I think that there's tougher rules in Chinese ping pong than there are in.
I'm sure there are
in college athletics. Basically, there are no rules at this point.
None.
And there's a bill in the U.S. Senate to try to put some rules in place, and we can get into the weeds of that if you want. But yeah, Brendan Sorsby, who is transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech over the winter, is currently scheduled to play starting in Game 3 based on a temporary injunction that was just granted, even though he bet on his own team when he was a redshirt at Indiana in 2022. And that is, that's an important distinction that they've tried to make through the legal process. Is he wasn't playing. He wasn't the first. He wasn't the starter. He wasn't the backup. He wasn't on the bench. He was, he was a redshirt. But it's still, I mean, this is, I would assume as a former athlete, you cannot comprehend what potentially could happen if he steps on the field here after what he's done.
Look, I think what people are missing here is there are levels to this. If you bet and you play, that's a level. If you bet and you play and you bet against your team, that's a level. Like, there are levels. They're not all the same here. Betting and not participating in the game is different than betting against your team and playing in that game. There's a wide chasm between those two, but it still gives you insider knowledge of what's going on with the team. You're at the practice, you're at the meetings, you know how guys are feeling, you know mentally how they're doing, you know what the game plan is going to be. So if you bet over or under total points for your team, you understand it. You're going to be running the ball late. You're going to be throwing the ball a lot early. All those things that you gain access to, no one else has that information. It'd just be like insider trading on Wall Street that people get busted for. So yeah, when people say, but he didn't play, I want to say, of course. But I think people miss out, John, on the levels. There are levels to all this stuff, and there's a little nuance there, but people don't get that. They're just like, well, he didn't play or he did play. And that's not it. It's not it.
That's not it. So, yeah. There's so much to unpack here. What happened? He has a gambling addiction, right? This was not just a few bets here. That he made thousands of bets, most of them pretty small. But he also got access to betting accounts that his friends had. He had people make bets for them. He clearly has a gambling addiction, which is a mental illness. There's no doubt about that. And that is part of his legal case. Is he had a mental illness. He is now on the road to recovery. He should be given a second chance. But in some ways, the precedent is the biggest thing, right? If they allow a guy who redshirted and bet on his own team to play. Well, then the next guy, it's going to be, well, I didn't redshirt that season, but I was the backup. And then it's going to be, well, I didn't actually get in the game, but I was, on the sideline. They can't open the door, I don't think, 1 inch. And the fact that that he had an addiction almost creates this whole nother problem. Whereas you're better off if you're an athlete making thousands of bets and claiming you have an addiction. You got a better chance to get back on the field than if you only made 2 bets. So there's just so many tentacles to this thing. And Texas Tech they have unified college athletics like nothing else before them, because everybody is irate. And we can get into that too. I mean, the Big Ten is considering this week banning their teams from scheduling Texas Tech in any sport. But I mean, there's so much to it.
I feel like I did a poor job of kind of setting it up for the listeners. We know what we're talking about, but for those that don't know, we're talking about Brendan Sorsby, quarterback for Texas Tech, made thousands of bets, totaling $90,000. Bets weren't big, but there were a lot of bets. And he's played at Cincinnati, played at Indiana. When he was at Indiana, he made wagers on Indiana's football team while he was a member of Indiana University, not playing in the games, but betting on the team that he played for. And now there's an injunction that says he's going to be able to play this year after sitting out the first 2 games because it was deemed a mental illness. He's battling the addiction, and it should be treated as any other addiction or mental illness. Right. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
And the NCAA banned him for the season, right? Yes. In keeping with their policy. That's one thing I should have added. There's obviously the NCAA is like the Wild West, right?
Yes.
But there is one rule that is considered unbreakable.
We all know it.
The line you cannot cross. And he crossed it repeatedly, willingly, knowingly. And the fact that he could get back on the field after missing just 2 games, like I could almost go for a year suspension. Is that what Jamison Williams had? I can't remember. Or Calvin Ridley, one of the
Ridley, the receiver. Yeah, I think it was a year suspension because when he was injured, he was betting on NFL games. I'm not sure if he was betting on his team. I think it was when he played for the Falcons. But he's betting like parlays and stuff like that. And then he got busted and he got suspended a year.
Right. I mean, if they suspended him for a year, I could probably accept that. But 2 games, and they're back, and they're obviously they're cupcake games. He'll be back for game 3 when they play Houston in a huge game in the Big 12. So, I mean, it's incomprehensible. And what they did is what a lot of other college athletes have done in the last few years. They found a local court. This was adjudicated in Lubbock County. The original judge was a Texas Tech booster. So he recused himself. They brought in a guy from Fort Worth, and a retired judge from Fort Worth, and he basically said if he is banned from college football, it will do irreparable harm. So now the NCAA has appealed, and the appeal is to this. I have a hard time saying this with a straight face, Tom. The appeal is to the 7th District in Amarillo. All 4 judges in the 7th District are Texas Tech grads.
Why would you even try to keep a straight face?
So that's kind of the legal framework behind all of this is the permanent ban, the seeking a temporary injunction so he can get on the field. It is just an absolute circus.
The funny thing I thought of, and I should say that when I talked about this last show I did, I conflated a Lubbock court with a Lubbock judge. I thought the judge was from Lubbock. He wasn't. He initially was, but he wasn't. Yeah.
The original judge recused himself. After.
And by the way, what about
the original judge? As soon as they named the judge, there was a picture on social media of that judge standing with the Texas Tech mascot.
Oh, come on.
So at least he recused himself.
Was he doing
the guy they brought in has no ties to Texas Tech. I think he went to Houston, but a lot of the legal analysts are just absolutely dumbfounded by his ruling. I mean, there's no other league in the world that would allow this to happen. And there is no precedent has been set in college sports. And yet he said, the kid's going to have irreparable harm if he's not allowed to play again. And I'm thinking, like, that's the point of a rule like this.
Didn't anybody say, what about irreparable harm to the sport itself? I mean, that was irony right there. I was like, wait a minute. We're worried about one kid over the entire sport, because this is what we're saying here. If this were to hold, Dad, just bet on whatever. Not only you can bet on your sport, you can bet on your team, and we might not even make the distinction whether you're redshirting or not. Just go ahead and bet on your team.
Right, and he did bet the unders on some prop bets. So, I mean, it's you wonder, like, if he does play and there, his first game back against Houston, he throws a pick in the fourth quarter. I mean, every mistake he makes, people are going to be wondering if he's bet the under or bet against Texas Tech, and I don't know why Texas Tech wants that.
Yeah, and I would say this too. There's a couple other things I wanted to get into, because a lot of people were saying, well, what's wrong with betting on your own team? And I said, again, there's a difference here. There's a difference between betting on your own team and betting against your own team. Those are differences. They're not the same. But if you were going to bet on your own team, the only way I would accept that is if you bet on your own team the same exact amount every single game. Then it would just be like a bonus at the end of the year that you would either collect or you wouldn't collect. But as soon as you start changing the amount, or as soon as you decide, I don't want to bet this game, I'm going to bet this game and not that game, things change. That's what I always said about Pete Rose when they said, well, he bet on his team. I'm like, well, he didn't bet every game same amount. So he used his bullpen differently on games that he didn't bet on his team. Then it's just different. But if you're going to bet like $100 on your team every single game, fine, whatever. But they don't.
Nope, they don't.
The other thing, John, that kills me is when people say, well, look, we have people that have assaulted their significant others, that have DUIs, that have, and I try to tell people this, and I know this is going to come across like some people are going to find this distasteful, but in a sporting universe, fixing games is worse than murder, rape, pedophilia, any other heinous act you want to throw out there. In the sporting universe, fixing games is number one above all of that. Now, if we're talking the real universe, like real time, like, of course, all those things are way worse than fixing sporting games.
The moral universe, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not even in the same universe. But we're talking about sports.
Right.
Where what's the one thing we all want when we watch sports? Is it real?
Is it real? That's right.
Is it real? And if it ceases to become real, John, people stop watching and stop caring. That's why fixing is the number one crime. It's a capital punishment when it comes to sports. I don't think people altogether get that don't follow gambling all that much.
Right. It's the thing that separates college football or any sport from WWE, right?
Yep.
And that, I think, is why the outrage. I mean, there are 138 football teams in the FBS, and there are 137 of them. They can't all agree if the sun is going to rise, but 137 of them think this is absolutely wrong, and that tells you kind of all you need to know. It is, people are just, I think too many folks were surprised that he got a favorable ruling. They haven't paid attention to how the NCAA has done in court lately. But everybody is just outraged that Texas Tech would consider playing. I mean, Texas Tech's like, hey, we didn't file the lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, obviously they could say, you know what, we're going to support your recovery, but we're not going to play you. And they have not done that yet.
What is the Big 12 going to do about this? Do they want to play Texas Tech? Can they just forfeit games against Texas Tech? Like, what's on the table as far as the Big 12 is concerned?
So, first of all, the timeline is this. There was a meeting yesterday with the Big 12 athletic directors and the commissioner. Tomorrow, and the Big 12 and the ADs, 15 of the 16 were like, this, he can't possibly play. Tomorrow, the Big 12's executive board, which is a handful of university presidents and the commissioner are going to meet. And then next week, the full board of presidents is going to meet, and they might come up with a decision. They have a recourse. There is a section in their bylaws that allows the conference to suspend or sanction a school or a player, basically for actions, that can harm the conference. Now, Texas Tech could potentially come back with some kind of legal action. The thing is, the schools are not named in the injunction, which means if they said we're not going to play Texas Tech, they would not be violating the court order. However, Texas Tech could, in theory, try to take them to court for damages. It's really messy. I mean, it is a next level mess that no conference has ever faced this. That's the thing. I mean, you go back to Headache Smith, you go back to all those guys, right? I mean, there's never been a situation like this. And it is a huge issue for the Big 12. You got the Big 10 saying we may not schedule them. Georgia's athletic director has already told all of his teams do not schedule Texas Tech. It is crazy. And the conference has some options, but there are no good options at all unless Texas Tech just says, all right, he's not going to play.
How does TV work its way into all this with Texas Tech being scheduled to play, let's say, Baylor on national TV or whatever? How does that all figure into it?
Well, there are, Texas Tech has got 11 of their 12 games are covered by the Big 12's deal with Fox and ESPN.
Okay.
So the 11 either home games or conference games on the road. Those are all covered by the contract with ESPN Fox. They're worth roughly $4 or $5 million each. If somehow the Big 12 said they're not going to, those games are going to get, voided, I would assume Fox and ESPN would want, $40-50 million back, and the conference would probably have to do that. But there are other issues I'm sure ESPN and Fox would have with that. I mean, again, there are layers and layers of complications, but the bottom line is they can't let him on the field, and everybody knows it. So they got to figure something out. And I don't know if the external pressure is going to be enough to make Texas Tech do something voluntarily, or if the Big 12 might try to do something. Or again, the other option is the CFP says we are going to void every game Texas Tech plays is not going to be counted toward the CFP selection process. That's potentially another option, but it is really complicated.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I was wondering why the NCAA didn't do that in the Charles Bediako case. Just tell Alabama, look, if he plays in a game, we're not counting that as a win for you. They never came out and said that, probably because they would have got sued and they're tired of getting their heads kicked in.
Yeah.
But I thought the same thing when it came to the CFP. Like, why couldn't they just say, look, if you play him, you're not getting credit for that win, period. You're just not going to get, I'm sure there'd be more lawsuits because there always is. Yep. But why couldn't they just do that? And do they just want to stay out of it and let Big 12 handle it first and see how it goes? Because like you said, you can't get 130 college football teams to agree on anything. They all agree on this. And I think anybody that follows sports, not just college sports, just sports in general, everyone knows this is the third rail. Like this is you don't do this. You don't bet on your own team. You don't bet on your own. Well, I shouldn't say your own sport. I actually bet on my own sport, John. I told the story last week where I was at Arizona, and I used to occasionally bet on other games that were going on. So when the out-of-town scoreboard came on in the second half, I was very interested. Usually we were blowing teams out by then. I think I'm grandfathered in now. I think I'm off the hook on that one.
You bet on UCLA to win, right?
No, not at all. If the value is there, though, you never know. But
I think that's a great point. And I've actually seen some reports that the NFL, NBA, MLB are outraged and, shocked and outraged. And it would be interesting to see if this progresses through the court system, if the pro leagues join in on the NCAA side, with filings to support the NCAA's, original decision. Well, we'll see. But yes, you're right. I mean, up and down the sports world, they are watching this for sure.
And I hate the argument that, well, what do you expect? All the leagues are in bed with all the gambling outfits now. What do you think was going to happen? I'm like, well, I expected this not to happen. Like, I figured it would, and then the leagues would take care of it. Like the NBA is dealing with Terry Rozier. Like, you bet on your own games. You manipulate anything in any way, shape, or form, like a player prop. You're gone. That's it. It's not that hard to understand. Like, you couldn't do this before they were in bed with FanDuel. What made you think, like, all of a sudden now that you're going to be able to do something like this? So I just, this whole thing, it just seems, the NCAA and this, it's made something that seems so simple, John, so convoluted, that I can't help but laugh, because I've played, I've watched, I've been in athletics for 50, 40 years now. This was always there was never a question about this. Never.
Nope.
You do not bet on your own team. Period. End of story. Big concept. And even Sorsby knew this, which is why he had people place bets for him ostensibly. And so it's unbelievable that I got to give his lawyers credit, though, for finding a loophole. That's pretty good stuff.
His lawyer, Jeffrey Kessler, is the guy that beat the NCAA in the House lawsuit last year that has led to the revenue sharing era. He is a big time attorney who has beaten the NCAA repeatedly. And there, again, they leaned into the mental illness and addiction. And, so the message being sent to athletes and all the other teams is, hey, you got a better chance if you make 1,000 bets than if you make 2.
Yeah.
Because then you can claim an addiction and get back on the field. It is so upside down. It's beyond, the reasonable universe. Could
the NCAA, and I feel kind of funny, even like the NCAA is such a mess, but could the NCAA say, well, let me ask you this first, because it's something I wanted to make sure I got to. When should we expect this appeal process to take place? Because I've read it could happen after the season's over, which doesn't do anybody any good whatsoever. Like, how quickly can they get to this?
Well, so the temporary injunction that was issued is because he has been suspended for the year. The trial date for his case against the NCAA is in February, right? Which obviously the season ends in January.
Yep.
So that's why he needed the temporary injunction. I think that there's a decent chance that the 7th District of Texas will hear the appeal before September, based on what I have read. But again, is a court that's got 4 judges with Texas Tech degrees going to rule against Texas Tech? It seems unlikely. It seems, and plus it's a temporary.
I don't know. Are those seats voted on?
Yeah, I think so. So it's a temporary injunction as well. So it's not an actual ruling, and temporary injunctions are overturned with less frequency than actual court rulings. So the legal process is as complicated as the competitive aspect of the whole thing. Like you said, the NCAA, you can play for 6 schools in 6 years, and you can athletes can take $10 million. You can deal drugs. You can do drugs. You can have DUIs and domestic violence. This is the one thing. That you can't do.
No, because if you kill somebody, that doesn't necessarily, it's going to sound dumb, but it doesn't necessarily affect the outcome of a game.
Right.
If you were to kill 3 people, it doesn't mess with the integrity of the game.
That's right.
Fixing games messes with the integrity of the game. That's what I try to get through to people. Like, look, this isn't real world stuff. This is sports world.
Right.
This is sports. This is a sports universe we're dealing with. That's the capital crime.
And the attorneys have actually made that case. That was part of their case was he wasn't fixing games. He wasn't involved with gamblers. It was just him with a phone or with his buddy's phone. There was no greater conspiracy. It was a single kid with an addiction, but that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, let's open that door. Let's open that door. Right. Yeah. So yeah. It's like, oh well, hey, Sorsby did it. I could do it. And then somebody will be betting $5,000 a game, and they'll say, "What difference does the amount make?" Sorsby is betting 4, but he was still making bets. This guy's making bets. Who cares what the amount is? He can afford it. So it's just, all right, could the college football playoffs or any other entity say, look, you play with him this year, we're going to ban you from the college football playoffs for the next 2 years. You have no chance of getting to a college football playoffs for the next 2 years. Like, that will be your punishment. I don't even know there's any NCAA punishments anymore, but could the college football playoff just say, we're not going to do it? Or would they even care to do that? Could there be enough pressure put on them by the other schools? Because if I'm the college football playoffs, I'm like, well, hell, Texas Tech's number 1 and they draw good ratings. I want them. This is a TV show. I want them to be part of the show. But if all the other teams are saying, look, we're not going to compete in your playoffs, we're not going to take it, like either us or Texas Tech, you guys make a choice. Could they say, you know what, if he plays this year, you're not going to be eligible for the playoffs and you won't be eligible for the next 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, imagine Texas Tech winning the national championship with Sorsby. I mean, and what that would do to college athletics. So the CFP is not named in the injunction, and it is a separate LLC. So it is just totally distinct from the Big 12, the NCAA, all of it. I don't honestly know from a strict legal standpoint what would happen. Would Texas Tech go to court against the CFP? Potentially. I do believe that they have the authority to pick and choose who they want, but that depends on how slippery that slope is. And Texas Tech, the thing we haven't discussed that we should mention is, their athletic department is basically funded by a billionaire, a guy named Cody Campbell, who played offensive line for Texas Tech, made $1 billion in the oil industry. He is funding their roster through NIL and revenue sharing. He is supporting Sorsby's case. And they could fight all the way to the Supreme Court 100 times because he's got enough money to fund everything if he wanted to do it. So money is not an object for Texas Tech on the legal side, but you do have to risk, being ostracized by your conference and your sport to a point that you can't crawl back from that realm, So I don't know what will happen, but I think the CFP would have that option.
I mean, I would think all options on the table.
Have to be
when it comes to Texas Tech, and it'll be interesting to see how they continue to progress.
One more.
Yeah,
I don't want to forget.
No, please. I want to know as much about this as possible.
So earlier this year, there was a rule brought before the NCAA Division I Council that would have allowed athletes to bet on professional sports, right? Because it's so everybody's got the phone. It's so ubiquitous with the apps. Maybe we ought to loosen our rules a little bit so that athletes can bet on pro sports. It was rejected by 2/3 of the university presidents, including Texas Tech's president. So he voted against athletes being allowed to bet on pro sports, but is supporting his quarterback playing after he bet on his own team. That hypocrisy is basically tells you all you need to know about college athletics.
That's rich. That is rich. And I would have said, if they want to bet on pro sports and they're of age to bet, fine. Yes. I have no problem. That's what the NBA does. You can bet on anything outside of the NBA, which includes Summer League, WNBA, anything NBA property you can't bet on. NFL, same thing. Bet on other sports, just not the NFL. Same with baseball, same with hockey, I assume, is what it is, which is what it should be. You want to bet on, you just can't bet on your sport. And you most certainly can't bet on your team. I feel like I got to say that over and over. Like, why do I got to say that over and over? Everyone knows this. Everyone should know this. I think problem is everyone does know this. They just found a loophole and they found a lawyer who's really good at figuring out how to get him back on. And guess what? This wouldn't have, to me, John, this wouldn't have been a thing pre-NIL. Because Sorsby, the only reason Sorsby wants to play is it's $5 million or $3 million or whatever he's getting from Texas Tech. Hell, if he wasn't getting that money, he could just say, you know what? I'll just sit out and prepare for the draft and get my own private workout, stuff like that. But the fact that he's making this type of money, that's why we're going through all these hoops.
Absolutely. I mean, that has changed everything. Every aspect of college sports has been changed by the economic overhaul with NIL and also revenue sharing. There was one thought that if he didn't get the injunction, he would enter the supplemental draft. And the deadline, I think, is later this month. And he's considered probably a day 2 pick type talent. You know, he can throw and he can run. And he will, if he plays, he could be one of the best players in the country. So that was going to be the option for him if he had not gotten the injunction, was to enter the supplemental draft.
I haven't heard the term supplemental draft.
I know, it's been a few years.
In forever. I don't even know who the last player selected in the supplemental draft was.
It's been a while. And the thing is, would NFL teams take him, you think?
I think if they thought he was good enough, they would. I think absolutely.
Okay.
I think that's where nuance kind of comes into play, because I think they would look at it and go, this guy wasn't out trying to make a killing. He was betting $5. He was betting $4. He was betting $10, whatever it was. I think $114 from what I read was his biggest wages. So he's not a big time gambler. I could see a kid. I could see me in this era on campus. You like to wager. No, I'm not betting on my own team, but hey, I want to bet an NBA game while the season's going on a Tuesday night. When practice is over, Nuggets are playing or whoever. All right, let me put $10 on that. I could easily see myself doing that. Hell, I probably would have done that. So I think they would get into, and that's where the nuance would come into play as well. Like, hey, it was a red shirt. It didn't really affect the outcome of the game. He didn't play in the game.
Yeah.
I think they might look at it as not a huge deal. That doesn't mean it isn't a huge deal when it comes to rules and regulations, because it's not just about what Sorsby did. It's about, if that's okay, what does it lead to, and what are other people going to do? There we go. Jalen Thompson, supplemental draft.
Washington State kid. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't know any of the, I can't remember any of these guys. Oh, Terrell Pryor. That's right. That's when he took that money from the pawn shop or whatever. I forget where that was. Yeah.
Yes.
But he was in the supplemental draft.
It hasn't been since the last decade.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been 7 years since anybody went supplemental draft.
Yeah.
That is classic. That is good stuff. All right, a couple other things real quick before I let you go. Tell me about the Ted Cruz bill and what if you can condense it as best you can, what is that trying to make college football or college athletics look like?
That is technically called the Protect College Sports Act. And one of its biggest supporters is the same Texas Tech billionaire who's trying to get Sorsby back in the field. I'm going to protect college sports with one hand, and I'm going to take Thor's hammer to it in the other. So basically, the Protect College Sports Act, it's 111 pages. There's a lot to it, and it includes things like extended medical coverage, 5 years to play 5, right, which is the eligibility is a big issue.
Yeah.
It has, you'll love this. It includes the Lane Kiffin rule, where you can't leave your team during the season to go to another team. But the two biggest things are, it would literally prevent the SEC and Big Ten from expanding, because there is a provision that says any conference that makes more than $1 billion in revenue cannot expand. And there's only 2 that make more than $1 billion. So it is specifically targeting those 2 leagues and telling them how to run their business. And they are not happy.
I bet they're not.
And the reason for that is everybody's worried they're going to form a super league. And that is a whole nother discussion, Tom, that is fascinating and we could get into whenever you want. But the concept of a super league is kind of looming over all of this stuff in college football.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of the bill, it's tied to that, is it would allow them to pool their media rights. So all the conferences would sell to the networks as one unit, like the NFL does, right? I mean, it's not like the NFC East sells its media rights and the AFC South sells its. It's all one from the center done by the league. The provision in the bill would allow college football to do the same thing, so that the Big Ten and the SEC would be selling their rights together. You know, Ohio State versus Georgia is sold together.
Yeah.
But the Big Ten and the SEC are against that because they would lose both financial and competitive advantage. So the two major provisions in the bill, the two biggest conferences oppose both. And the other piece is that it's in the Senate now. If it even gets through the Senate, you know, it's got to get through the House, and the majority leader in the House is from Louisiana, and LSU does not like the bill. So it's hard to believe it's going to get through the way it's written. It may get through with huge modifications, but it is a big, big deal because the SEC and Big Ten are so opposed that if they get backed into a corner here, a lot of people think it could accelerate the process of them leaving the NCAA and forming their own thing.
I wanted to ask you about that, but before I do, you got me thinking about something. Because the AFC South would definitely be the MAC in the NFL. Like they'd be relegated.
I have long wondered if the AFC and the NFC South were wiped off the face of the earth, would anybody know?
That's a great question.
Okay, let's say the Saints, maybe.
Let's say the NFC East is the Big Ten.
Yes.
Of the NFL. Who's the SEC? Is it the NFC West? With the Niners, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals? I mean, Cardinals kind of a weak participant. Is it the NFC North with the Bears, the Packers?
Packers.
So is that who's the other? NFC East for sure is one of the two bigger conferences.
NFC East is the Big Ten. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Who's the SEC in the NFL?
I mean, you could make a case the AFC West is up there.
AFC West, I was going to say.
It would be AFC West, NFC West, or
NFC North.
NFC North. Yeah, I mean, the Packers and Bears are gigantic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost better to kind of come up with who's your version, just specific teams of Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Penn State.
Oof. Boy.
I mean, it has to be the
Bears,
Cowboys
Packers
are Ohio
for
State,
sure.
right?
Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys, Giants are definitely up there.
Bears, Packers, Steelers.
Bears, Packers, Steelers. Yep, definitely Steelers are in the mix. I'd say Niners.
Niners
are up there somewhere. I don't know whether. I guess maybe Rams. I don't know if the Seahawks, even though they just won, I don't know if they would be. I'd include them in that group. Chiefs. I put the Chiefs up there. Believe it or not, even though they haven't won anything lately, the Raiders would probably be.
Yeah.
The Raiders would probably be
they
up
would.
there somewhere because historically they have some gravitas to them. Like they just do. They might be like, I don't know, Nebraska, who used to be like really good and now they stink.
Right. Yes. Good call.
Not anything. Patriots. Yes, definitely the Patriots. Definitely the Patriots. Hey Lou, I know John loves you, but you're like.
But so that's the theory, is that if they did create, because right now Ohio State, for instance, the Big Ten's making $1 billion, but that's getting split evenly. Purdue's getting the same amount as Ohio State.
Yeah.
So the theory is if the top 30, 32, 36 teams created their own league where they played each other, they could get close to NFL dollars.
Yeah.
And then they would include, because I think it would help with ward off antitrust litigation, if they included promotion and relegation, the other 80 or 90 schools would have a pathway to get into that top tier. But that's, that would be what a lot of people think is the next step. And it might take 3 years. It might take 8 or 10 years.
See, that's what I was going to ask you, because that's and I'm not going to say it's my idea. I just thought this was a great idea where you have the Big Ten and you have the SEC. And I think the SEC would have to add 4 teams. The Big Ten would have to add 2 teams. And you could even boot teams out if you didn't want them in your league. And then SEC plays their schedule. Big Ten plays their schedule. It just totally in the Big Ten and the SEC. Big Ten has a playoff. SEC has a playoff. The winner of each plays in your Super Bowl Junior.
Yeah.
And then you would have all the playoffs and stuff. And then there would be 40 teams or 30 teams or whatever below them.
Yep.
And they would also have a playoff. And then you'd have Division I AA, and you'd have 40 teams below them until you get to all the teams. And then just like English soccer, you would have relegation where 4 teams go up, 4 teams go down. And there is a pathway, if you're in the third tier, to actually work your way all the way up to the top tier by winning. And to me, I've seen Adam Silver try to do it in the NBA. It's like there's not enough teams. It doesn't work. Like you got to be like English soccer. You got to have teams everywhere. You got to be like 200-300 teams.
Right.
So I think college football is perfect for a top tier, a relegation, second tier. You're going to have rules. You're going to have like each league gets to spend a certain amount. You can't go over that. And to me, that's the way the sport can really kind of explode. Now, I can see it already, John. People that are in the top tier can be like, well, I don't want to have to risk going down. I mean, then I'm going to lose a whole bunch of money if I go down. Well, suck it up then. Be better. Right. That's what they deal with in soccer. You go down, you lose money, you lose advertising dollars. So do you think that could ever be a possibility? And what do you think of that idea?
Well, I agree with it in theory. Absolutely. And one question is how many schools would be willing to participate even in the second tier or the third tier, as opposed to just saying, screw it. We're going to basically become 1AA. Like how many of the, Stanford Cal, for instance, Wake Forest, Minnesota, how many of those schools are going to be willing to spend the money to try to compete for the top tier? I don't know the answer to that, but I think in theory, that's where it's headed. And one of the stumbling blocks to the top tier is, somebody's got to lose. So is Texas going to be okay being 5-7, or is Penn State going to be okay if they're, 3-9 and struggling? Because those schools aren't really used to losing on a consistent basis. So that's one of the issues. There's a lot of legal hurdles. We can't forget that this is all still tied to higher education, although the sooner they untether that aspect of it and make the football programs separate entities that are not really part of the school, I think the quicker we'll get to the next evolution. But I think that's what it should be. They can't just take the 34 teams in the Big Ten and the SEC plus Notre Dame and create a 35-team Super League, because they would get sued for collusion. The only way it would work is if the best teams leave and create something new.
Okay.
You have to leave behind, Minnesota and Mississippi State. Otherwise, it's not going to work legally.
Got it.
At least that's what I have been told in terms of, the structure for what it would be. It's going to just at some point, it's going to take Ohio State getting on the phone and calling Notre Dame and calling Texas and say, we're done. Let's do it. And I think that we're getting closer and closer to that point.
This gets brought up occasionally. What are we going to do about the Olympic sports? And I always say, look, everyone cares about Olympic sports during Olympic years. That's all they care. Yeah. That's all they care about. And my thought was, hey, maybe it's time to go sell cookies and have some car washes and pay your way through college. Okay, enough of having football and basketball pay your way through college. Like, it's actually time to go out and work. If you want to have a swim team, if you want to have a diving team, if you whatever Olympic sport you want, then you need time to go out there and earn it a little bit, because these teams are like, we're about done with paying you. We got to pay our own rosters now, and we got to pay you. Kick rocks. Go do your own thing. Those Thin Mints are fantastic. Get some, sell them, you'll be fine. What'll happen to the Olympic sports? I mean, are we going down that path where it's like, hey, if you want to fund yourself, go for it. But we're not going to have enough to fund everybody from now on.
Well, that's a big part of this bill that's in the Senate is protections for the Olympic sports, because everybody on Capitol Hill is worried about our Olympic pipeline, and we're the only country that has universities acting as the primary pipeline for the Olympic teams. right?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anywhere else. But yeah, the schools are getting tired with these rosters are getting so expensive. This year, football rosters are going to be $40-50 million. Why do I have to support tennis or swimming, right? And the dirty little secret has always, as you know well, as a former athlete, has always been that the two sports that are played by athletes on the lower end of the socioeconomic rung pay for the sports that are basically the country club sports, right?
Yep.
That is the problem. The other problem is the whole model for college athletics. There's no other business in the world, at least in the US, where two money-making subsidiaries would have to pay for 16 money-losing subsidiaries. You just get rid of the money-losing subsidiaries.
Yeah.
But college athletics is not set up that way. So there are problems with the basic model of the system. And, you know, they're going to have to figure that out. I don't think this bill is going to pass. And we just saw, each week, not each week, but every couple of weeks, there's the threat that another Olympic sport somewhere is going to get cut. And everybody gets up in arms about that. Arkansas tennis team's going to get cut. Well, it turns out like half those guys are from Eastern Europe anyhow, right? So that's the other thing, right? I mean, a lot of the athletes that are playing on the Olympic sports are from other parts of the world. Every water polo player is from like Croatia or Serbia. Exactly. So, I mean, it's a broken system. It's just one of the broken pieces of the overall system. But yes, the Olympics, the future of the Olympic sports is going to have to get hashed out either with this Senate bill or with something that comes down the pipe here in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Cookies, car wash.
Yes.
Calendars, mow yards. I mean, pick up leaves. I mean, look, all kinds of ways for you to earn money out there. It's time for you to earn your keep a little bit.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that even the most successful, like Connecticut women's basketball, Tennessee Oregon women's basketball, when they had Sabrina, they lost money, right? I mean, it is tough. And now what we're seeing is because the rosters for men's basketball cost so much, some of those schools are starting to lose money in men's basketball too.
Yep.
Like, Kentucky's got a $20 million roster. Now they sell out Rupp every game, but if Kentucky were in a position where they were only filling 2/3 of the arena, they would start losing money because the roster's so expensive.
Yep. It's wild. It is just a wild, wild west. And we didn't even get into, not that I wanted to, but maybe next time I have you on, I'll get you over here in the backyard one of these days. But Texas State in the Pac-12 is just, that broke my mind and my heart, John. I got to be honest with you. Like, I don't even recognize the Pac-12 anymore. Not that I don't recognize it. I just don't recognize it as a conference anymore. I'm like, that, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. Even without Texas State, I don't know what it is. But the fact that it has Texas State in it,
yeah.
I mean, go away. Yeah, just call it something else, please. You're killing me.
Yeah, I hear you. It is really hard to kind of get used to, but
I'm not. I won't get used to it.
In 50 years, it could, everybody, it's going to be just naturally accepted. Oh, Texas State's been in the Pac-12 forever,
No, I won't. No, I won't.
I mean, I still have trouble with UCLA and Rutgers in the same conference.
Yeah, I know.
Cal and Wake Forest.
Texas State are the Bobcats, are they not?
They are the Bobcats. Yes,
I believe they are. The only reason you get that knowledge is because you wager. You know all the nicknames.
That's right. It's funny. I thought you were going to say we hadn't even had a chance to talk about college football playoff expansion, a 2014 playoff.
Oh God!
I know.
Please,
that's a huge issue too.
What are we
doing? Right. What are we doing? But guess what? Next week, there's a huge meeting about that. At the same week that the Big 12 is going to have to decide on Sorsby and the Senate's going to take up this massive bill, the CFP is going to meet about whether they should go to 24 or not.
And I love the fact that coaches and ADs are like, yeah, we should.
Right.
Well, yeah, because you get to keep your job. That's why you think you should. That's unbelievable. Right. John, we didn't even need 12. We didn't need 16. We didn't need 14. But the only thing I will point out, and I tell people this, look, let's say Oregon on a year they're not great is playing Wake Forest. That's like maybe 8-4, something like that. It's not a great game. I could pick a better school. Let me go Mississippi and Wake Forest. I go, would you rather watch that as a playoff game or that as a bowl game where 10 people sit out? I go, I'll take the playoff game. At least it's going to be competition. Do I think they are going to help decide the national championship? No, in no way, shape, or form do I think they're any part of the national championship picture. That's like the top 5 or 6 teams for now. Although Indiana put a little wrinkle in that, although they were one of the top 6 teams. So I mean, how far do we go? And 76 in basketball. Why not just invite everybody? Why not start out the year and say, you know what? Let's go to 128. Let's make it an even 128. And then Seth Greenberg saying, oh, why is everybody crying? Well, that stops Seth. I mean, for crying out loud. Well, it was fine at 64. It was even better at 32, but 64 was great. 68's dumb. And now 76, we get more dumb games leading up. I'm banning from my house, John, the NCAA tournament until Thursday. No games will be watched here until Thursday, until the real tournament starts. I'm not doing it. I'm not watching those games anymore, damn it.
Yeah, well, the first 2 teams left out this past March were 15-loss Oklahoma and 16-loss Auburn. So that's what's going to be in the tournament next year.
Unbelievable. I mean, it really is unbelievable. God, I feel like
but it's the same thing. It's the same, propellant as football playoff expansion.
Yep.
The coaches and the ADs want it because of job security.
Yep. I guess I would too if I were a coach or an AD. But what my point is, don't listen to those people. I don't care what they have to say. This is about your job, not my entertainment. I'm speaking on behalf of college football fans. Don't need it, don't want it, but you know what they bank on? We'll watch it, and I probably will. God damn it, they got me there, John. I'll watch it. Son of a bitch. I always hit that landmine. I can never avoid that. Are you going to watch? Well, yeah. Okay, then.
There's got to be a tipping point, and that's what the concern is over the 2014 playoff. At what point will having such a big playoff affect viewership for the regular season? That's actually the biggest concern a lot of people have, is if it's a 2014 playoff, Ohio State, Oregon in November, I mean, they're both in no matter what. So, the fans of those teams will watch it, but how much widespread appeal were those, or Alabama versus Georgia, how much widespread appeal will those games have? And those games do huge TV ratings during the season, 10, 12 million. And, that is the heart of college football, is the regular season. A lot of people are worried that a 2014 playoff would damage that aspect.
Yeah. Well, John, I even noticed this year the out-of-conference schedule isn't as good as it was last year.
Oh,
last year there was a lot of good games in September. This year I'm like scrolling through September. I'm like, brutal. It's kind of meek. It's kind of meek out there. Not a lot going on. I should say bleak, not meek. It's just like, where are all the good games? And I thought having a playoff would give us more good games in September. Last year I was proven right. This year, not so much.
No. So what's happened is everybody's worried about losses. They're worried if you get 3 losses, you're not going to make the 12-team playoff. And if you lose a game in September, last year, for instance, Texas loses at Ohio State. Yep. Texas fans have said, well, if we had played Ohio instead of Ohio State, we win. We're in the playoff at 10-2. Instead, we're out at 9-3. So the playoff proponents of 24 are saying, if we go to 24, you won't be worried about that loss in September. So you can make tougher schedules. But I would like to know the first coach who said, yes, I'll take the tougher path into the postseason. Because that has never happened. Never has a coach said, make my schedule harder, please, for the fans.
Never going to happen. Coaches want the easiest path. You know why? And it all comes down to this. Everyone likes their checks. Everyone likes their deposits twice a month. They like them on the 15th and the 30th. The ADs like them. The coaches like them. Politicians like them. That's why everyone does what's in their best interest. Everyone should remember that when it comes to this. No one's being altruistic when it comes to college athletics in
No.
terms of coaches and ADs.
No.
What suits me?
Yep.
Not even what suits my university. What suits me? What keeps those checks coming in? If I can keep my job, maybe even add a little bonus in there, and we go to 24 teams, I'm all for it because I get to keep my house, my wife's happy, my kids are happy, get a new vacation home if I want to. I'm set forever. That's what they're really thinking about. And people should understand that it's not about what's good for the kids, what's good for the schools. It's about what's good for them, period.
Period. Well said. There is no centralized governing structure.
No, not at all.
That is the root cause of all this. You said it perfectly.
Hey, I'd love to let's do it again. Let's maybe before the football season starts, we'll get you out in the backyard, have a beer.
Yeah.
Or a beverage.
No, that sounds great.
Beverage of your choice. Could be iced tea, lemonade. I got it all.
I mean, these days I just need caffeine, man. It's just I had to get up what is it, June 3rd or something? I'm getting up at 5 a.m. to watch a congressional hearing, right?
Oh, man.
I'm not Kramer. I don't have C-SPAN going on my TV all the time. So, I used to get up at 5 a.m. on signing day to see what letters of intent were rolling in.
Yep.
And now it's about getting up to watch a hearing for the Senate Commerce Committee. It's great content, but it is a different world, man.
That is an absolute different world. Who would have ever thought you'd be there? Who would have ever thought? Hey, Jon, thank you so much. It's always fun talking to you. Again, Wilner Hotline. You catch in Bay Area News Group if you follow college football, college basketball, college athletics in general, and not just the games themselves, all this kind of stuff, all the goings-ons outside the sports, kind of what makes the sports tick. Check out Jon's stuff. Like I said, when it comes to college football, college basketball, there's only one guy I trust, one guy I go to for all my my info, and that's Jon Wilner. Jon, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure by the time by the time I hang up this phone, something else has happened. Something probably happened while we were talking.
Oh, I can't bear to get on Twitter right now because you're absolutely right.
Thank you, Jon.
Tom. Always good, man. Be good.
Absolutely. Take it easy, Jon.
I'll see you.
Jon's the best. I love having him on and talking college sports. Now it's time to get to the big boys. Time to talk a little NBA hopes with my former teammate and now the color analyst for the San Antonio Spurs, author of the Memorial Day Miracle, way back when, my good friend Sean Elliott. Silly, what's going on?
Look at you, man. You are living the life.
Look at me.
You're in your backyard. Yeah, you're not even in the studio. You're just chilling in the backyard with your shades on, man. Unreal, man.
If it's a little later, I might even have a beer. Might even have a beverage.
What? I don't believe that, actually.
I know you don't. It's really hard to believe, isn't it?
No, I don't believe it.
How you been?
Good, man. Just busy. It's just been crazy. It's been a circus ever since our guys made the finals. You know how that goes. And here in New York, I got the call to do the radio at the last second for the team, and man, it's just been unbelievable here. Like the scene here the other night, Tommy, was insane. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. All the people, all the Knicks fans in the streets, just unreal.
I may have been one of the only, aside from you and anybody affiliated with the Spurs, I was like just so happy they lost. I was so happy people paid $100,000 for tickets and lost. I mean, that made me happy. That made me feel good. Now, does that make me a good person? No, it does not make me a good person. But I enjoy Schadenfreude, and that's my Schadenfreude. Is like, ha 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 ha! How much you pay for that? You lost.
Right. I hear you, man. It was, it was a different Knicks crowd than I expected. I got to say, I've been in that place where it's been crazy loud, and it got loud for a second, but our guys just did a good job of quieting the crowd several times. Even when they got a lead, our guys just hung in there, and then they got that lead there in the second half, and just played with a lot of poise and composure, and never let that crowd back in the game.
Yeah, I should mention Sean was a member of the 1999 championship team with the San Antonio Spurs. That was their first championship in Pop's run of 5 championships, and now they're going for their 6th one. What's impressed you most, Sean, about this team throughout the playoff run?
just their poise when their back is up against the wall. That's the biggest thing. We had 2 elimination games in that Western Conference final, Game 6 and Game 7. And when I watched the way we played in Game 5, I thought that was the worst playoff game we played the entire postseason. Our guys came back with their backs against the wall in 6 and 7, and it was pretty much a clinic. Won that Game 6 big time at home by, I don't know, like 20 points or so. And then you come back and you beat OKC in OKC. They're the defending champions. They got the 2-time MVP. It's on their floor. They have all the experience. And our guys go in there and played with a lot of poise and composure down the stretch. And they did exactly that same thing coming down the stretch in Game 3. And you look at our, throughout this postseason, we eliminated Minnesota on their floor. We had to go to Portland. We lost Game 2 at home in that first round, went to Portland and won 2. So our guys are getting the job done on the road. And this, the toughest thing to do in this league is to win on the road. It's even tougher come postseason. And our guys have a remarkable record on the road. They just they block out all the noise. I just think that they're so young. They're young and they're naive enough to not realize, everything that's on the line and not feel the pressure. They just go out there and play.
How would you? And I keep thinking of these things to say about you because I want people to know how good you were. One of my favorite teammates at Arizona. Although I was proud of the fact that I had such a good game against San Antonio. One game that Larry Brown yelled at Sean, and Sean wasn't even guarding me, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was telling that story last night to a group of people.
Were you?
Yeah, and that was the breaking point actually, because Larry was on my ass that year, right? It was my rookie year, and he was just all over me, and you were just handing it to our 2 big guys, and he calls timeout and yells at me, "Come to the bench." I said, "These dudes are getting their butts handed to them, not me," essentially. And at that point, I had enough, and it was the first time as a player that I talked back to a coach.
Really?
My high school coach was awesome. Lute Olson, no one was talking back to Lute, right?
No.
And so Lute would tear me down. My first 2 years, Lute, tore me a new one all the time. My junior, senior year, he kind of gave me the ultimate green light, and that was cool. And then I got in that situation my first year, and Larry was just all over me for everything that I did. And that was tough. And it's the first time that I ever talked back to a coach in my entire career. And so, at that point I was breaking. But I will say, and I've said this numerous times, when Larry left my 3rd year in the league, I was heartbroken because we had come to an understanding. And then I really appreciated his coaching. We understood each other. He got on me when he had to. And I appreciated that. I wanted to be coached. And so when he left that 3rd year, I was despondent. I was like, man, I really love this guy.
It was funny because I think Sean guarded me for all about 30 seconds that game.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's yelling at me for you. I'm like, well, give me the ball then. This is nice. But Sean won the Jon Wilner Award. I think it was your senior year, right? At Arizona, the #1 player in college basketball. If you go down and look at the Jon Wilner Award, it's name after name after name, and Sean was winner of that award. So anyway, Sean's been there, he's done that, so it's always fun to talk to him about the Spurs and what's going on. How's before I get to the team and Wemby and all that, how's Pop doing?
He's doing okay, man. He's hanging in there. He really is. It's killing him that he's not down there on the sidelines.
Yeah,
I know that for a fact. He didn't want to go away like this. He wanted to go out really on his own terms. But he realized, sometime last summer that he wasn't going to have the type of energy that was required to coach his team. You know how it is, Tommy. You're getting on flights in the middle of the night. You're landing 3, 4 in the morning. Sometimes you got a game that day. And he just came to the realization that he didn't have the energy, enough energy.
Did we just lose Sean?
There you are.
There you are. Gotcha. Now you were talking about how much he didn't have enough energy to coach.
Yeah, and he came to a couple film sessions this year. There were a couple of times where we played poorly in the postseason, and he came to film session and he told the guys, that's not what we do. That's not how we play. And I'm paraphrasing it. He was there when Victor threw the elbow. He was at the airport. That was well documented, and pulled Victor aside. And I'm sure, I know how Pop is with those situations. It probably wasn't, very gentle and easygoing. He told Victor what it was about. And so he's around to lend some advice. And so he's still, we call him El Jefe, the boss.
Yeah.
That's his new nickname. So he's still around.
Yeah, he's the best. I mean, he just what a great ambassador for the NBA and just everything. I love Pop to death. He's the one guy I wish I'd had a chance to play for that never got a chance to play for him. I've never run that by him. He probably wouldn't agree with me, but I don't.
He would have been on your ass, Tommy.
Oh, he'd have killed me. He would have killed me. I would have hated it at the time. I'm sure. But Mitch Johnson seems to have he's got some fire in him. Like you watch him coach the sidelines, like he's got I've been impressed by him, not just his coaching, but his demeanor on the sidelines. Like he seems like fully in control of what he's doing, Sean.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity a few times where I get caught in the locker room going back and forth doing stuff, and I hear him address the team. I've heard the huddles, obviously. He's no lightweight there, my friend. He gets on his guys. He holds them accountable. He brings all the fire and the energy. And I said it throughout our telecast all year long. Look, ESPN had us ranked 10th in the West at the start of the year. They projected us to win 40 games. We won 62. Yeah. 62. And I think if you were looking now, if the coaching for Coach of the Year was after the postseason, Mitch Johnson's the Coach of the Year. I thought he was the Coach of the Year far and away because we far exceeded expectations. He brought in a group of guys, got them just like Pop to park their ego at the locker room. You're not bringing your ego out on the floor. We need you to go out there and play for each other. And our guys have done exactly that. He holds everybody accountable. And you see a young ball club, the second youngest team in NBA history to make the NBA Finals. So Mitch has done an outstanding job. I can't say enough about what he's done. Yeah.
Oh, before I forget, because obviously I want to get to this series, this team. Give me your favorite Pop story on the bench, because obviously my favorite stories are just watching the games. When he calls a timeout 8 seconds into a game, love it. It's so funny because he's so pissed off. He's like, we just went over this shit. And we can't even get this right. Okay, timeout. Okay, bang. Yeah. But I mean, what's your favorite memory you have of Pop, like either calling a timeout or in a timeout or an interaction you had with you or the team during the game?
I would say, for us, we had a veteran group, so I can't really remember him calling a lot of early timeouts with our crew. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
we were veterans. We had our stuff down pat pretty much. I mean, there are several. I have better stories of him away from the court, and I can tell you one. Because
hold on a second. Okay, go ahead. Start over because you muted yourself for a second.
I don't know what happened there. So Pop.
Just hold your hands up like this, so I can see. Okay, now.
Yeah. So he would tell me all these stories about his military career and all his adventures, right? So he tells me a story one time about where he's in Europe somewhere, and Pop was actually behind enemy lines. I mean, he was in the thick of it. He was in intelligence, and he got some R&R. And so one of his friends told him, "Hey, come on down to Africa. I'm going to go out in the bush for a couple of weeks and hang out and go visit some villages and some towns." And Pop said, "All right, really cool." So Pop goes out there, and he and his buddies are out in the bush, right? And they run into a native tribe, and this native tribe has what they call a hyena man. And this hyena man feeds the hyenas on the full moon. He feeds the hyenas with meat from his mouth. And it's considered an honor to do this, right? And Pop said, "Well, every once in a while, that hyena might nip the guy, and they start smelling blood, and then rip the hyena man apart, right?
Oh.
And so, sure enough, Pop's out there, and the hyena man's out there feeding. The hyenas are going crazy, and one takes a bite of and Pops it right there in front of us. They ripped the guy to shreds. And so I'll tell my kids this story. I tell my friends this. He said the whole time the villagers were like, hey, the guy's eating. The villagers are going crazy. And then it's like 2 or 3 months ago, I saw a whole article on this, on the hyena man in Africa and the tribe. And I texted Pop the article. I said, I'll never forget that story you told me. He's like, unbelievable.
You mean like ripped him apart, like killed him?
Yeah. Killed him and ate him. Killed him and ate him. And no one, it's like, hey, help a brother out. I'm getting torn to shreds here. And everybody's out there celebrating.
It's like that. Remember that video that came out like probably 30, 40 years ago called Faces of Death?
Yeah.
Where people are like filming people. It's like, hey, buddy, how about fucking setting the camera down and go helping him out, okay?
Yeah.
You got a nice shot. But it's like, how about help a brother out? Like, is he getting eaten by hyenas?
Yeah. And then that night, apparently they elected a new hyena man.
I feel like, no, I'm good. I know it's an honor, but I'm a little older now, and the meat's kind of tough. I don't think the hyenas. Holy, no wonder nobody helped them. Everybody's going crazy. They're like, woo, 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 party time. Woo.
That's crazy, right? That's one of many.
Crap,
Tommy, one of many stories Pop has told me.
Wow, it's hard to beat that one.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat that one. All right, let's get back to this team. I've told people, Sean, that Wemby is like the one basketball player that I've seen, and like I've seen them all played against a lot of them. Jordan, Bird, Magic, all those guys. Didn't get a chance to play against Kobe. I played against Shaq. I was on Shaq's team. LeBron, all those. So I played against some of the greatest players in the game. He's the only player, Carl. He's the only player that, like, 2-3 years into his NBA career, I still am dumbfounded by what he does and how he does it. Like, my brain could compute what Bird did. It was amazing, but I could compute it. I could compute what Jordan did. Amazing stuff. People forget Jordan the first 4 or 5 years, how he'd hang in the air for like 8 seconds. Like some of the stuff he did. I've never seen anything like this. Like somebody that tall, that agile, that handle, that makes guys he's playing against look like they're playing in Pee-wee basketball. Like just like dunk it without hardly jump. Like you see him every game. Do you still get that feeling when you're watching him? Is he normalized now to you? Because I'm getting there, but still he does stuff, Sean. I'm like, good God.
No. It's something new every night. It's something new that he puts out every night. We just put in the category of I've never seen that before. And that's on the constant. That's on the regular. And again, if you said it, I call 70 of his games a year. I see him all the time. And still it's a reverse little lob. It's a block where he's reaching behind himself. He doesn't even know where the ball is. He blocks a shot. It's just absolutely bizarre things. On one side of the rim, he reaches over on the other side for a dunk, beating a guard off the dribble from the top of the key at 7'4", whatever. Next to Zach Edey. Zach Edey's listed 7'4", and Victor Towers over him. So, the shooting threes from the logo, things like that. It doesn't stop. And you just, or throwing a slick pass to somebody cutting to the rim. It's just amazing what he does. And we don't get tired of watching, I promise you that. But there's no question. We say there's so many times that things are not normal. What he does, it is not normal. I don't know when we're going to get used to it or accustomed to it.
Has it helped him in a sense? I mean, like he was always, with his skill level, he was always going to be a big deal. I feel like guys that come from overseas and come over here and play are better adjusted because they played pro ball for a while now. It's not the AAU system where everybody's kissing their ass and patting them on the butt and telling them how great they are. And they have a say. Like I've never felt like Giannis had a sense of entitlement. I never had a sense Jokic felt like he had a sense of entitlement. Shea, I feel the same way. With some of the American players, I feel like they do. And I don't feel like he does either. Do you feel like it helps, like it's helped him to like grow up not here and going through this system, like going through the system he went through in France? Like it's helped. He just seems mature, way more mature than he should be.
But you see that with so many European players. You just said that, right? They're not getting everything handed to them at such an early age. They're not getting, when they make mistakes, they're not getting a pat in the butt. It's like, it's okay, buddy. You know, they're being held accountable. A lot of those guys, like you said, are playing against grown men at 14, 15 years old. So they're already player. And so same thing with Manu. Same thing with Manu Ginobili. Manu came over. He was polished.
By the way. Say hi to Brownie.
And I hear you. Hey, Brownie. And I hear your koi pond going in the back, too. You're out there in nature. But I mean, look, that's.
I'm not even wearing pants right now. I'm just chilling.
I don't doubt it. It's kind of an indictment on our society, right? I mean, we're handing everything to the kids early on, and it's like every assistant coach or coach that I either played with or played against, or other commentators that I talked to, they're like, hey, these kids come in and they think that they're going to get the keys to the team right off the bat. Like kids are coming in. I have assistant coaches telling me kids come in and they're fresh out of college, a year or two, and they're like, this is my team. And you're like, what are you talking about? This is your team. You got to earn this. This is like, you've had so much given to you that it's a hard adjustment for all these kids to come in now and realize that you got to go earn it.
Yeah. Having been around Wemby, what makes him special that we don't see when we're watching him play?
He's just a really humble, down-to-earth person, Tommy. And he's very, very cerebral. Everything that he does is measured. It's everything about him has depth. You know, there's nothing shallow in anything that he does in his approach at all. He's a deep thinker. He wants to be the very, very best in the game. He's a guy who is curious about the world and everything around him. It's a lot of it is about basketball, yes, but he's got other interests. But he's just like a Renaissance man, and he just there are so many things that he understands about life in general, and it's at the end when he retires, I have no doubt he's going to go into other things and still be extremely successful because he's just extremely smart, intelligent, measured, considerate, all those things. He's an absolute anomaly.
Well, it's just wild. I mean, I read the story about him hanging out with the monks and doing that whole thing. I mean, that's just not normal. Many people don't do that. I mean, you can tell how inquisitive he is, and how he wants to get inspiration from different places. How is he as a leader? Do you see him like he looks like he's kind of growing into it right before our eyes? I think Castle has a little bit of that in him too. But how is he with? What would you say Wemby's leadership style is, or do you think it's still kind of evolving?
I think it's fantastic because he leads by example, because he puts in a lot of work and everybody sees that. He's the best player on the team and easily one of the hardest workers. He's one of the last guys in the gym all the time. And when players see that, it inspires them to be better as well. And you see him lots of times throughout the course of his career, especially this season, where if things aren't going well, he'll be the one to bring guys together. He'll be the one to huddle guys up and straighten people out on the floor. So it's still evolving, but right now he's a fantastic leader.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So let's talk about the series. 2-1 Knicks going into tonight. I thought last game a couple things jumped out to me. One, Stephon Castle playing with force early in the game, I thought was massive. Like he got going downhill. He wasn't going to take no for an answer. He was like, I'm getting to the rim. You bump me. I don't care. I'm going to score. The other thing, Wemby being down near the bucket where they could just throw lobs to him without him having to roll, Because that's the one thing, Sean, I don't know that he's ever going to have, because I don't think he should get too big. When he takes bumps, he's not going to be able to hold his spot all the time because he just doesn't have that body mass to be able to hold his spot. I think having him down there already certainly helped for them just to be able to throw it up to him. And something nobody has mentioned, and maybe I'm making too big a deal of it, I thought Mitch Johnson putting a small on Cat paid huge benefits because it kind of took Cat out of the game. He couldn't penetrate like he wanted to against Wemby. His assist game was off. It gave Wemby a chance to roam a little bit more defensively. Yeah. I thought that was a huge tactical move by him, putting a small on Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I think that worked out brilliantly for our guys. The fact that Keldon could body him, get him on the floor a little bit. He can move his feet and stay with him if he decides to penetrate. And then you have Victor back there just in case. And when you talked about Steph Castle, I've said in our telecast over and over again, when I see Steph Castle go to the foul line, I want to see him go to the foul line for the and one. I don't want to see him go to the foul line getting 2 free throws because he's gotten fouled and he's missed the shot. And so early on in the game the other night, he was going to the foul line for and ones. And what he was doing, which I really liked, is when he was working off Victor, going to the basket as opposed to the previous games, he's kind of waiting for that help defender to step up. There are a couple times where the lane is there. He's waiting for that help defender to step up, and then he wants to throw it over the top. The other night, he was coming off and immediately attacking that gap, getting all the way to the basket. Then the help defender meets him at the rim, and he was finishing.
And I also thought that, what can you say about Dylan Harper, man? That guy just does not seem fazed by – he doesn't seem fazed by the stage at all. Like, he just – man, look, it was nice that you guys had all those high draft picks, but you hit on all of them. You hit on every single one of them. But this guy, talk a little bit about him. He's just a stud.
He's special. At the beginning of the year, I had a conversation with Avery Johnson, and Avery said, "Tell me about this Dylan Harper kid." I said, "He's a superstar," and he's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, just watch him." Everybody was paying attention to Steph in his second year after the Rookie of the Year, obviously Victor, and I think Dylan Harper got overlooked. Everybody looked at Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel's rookie year. Those guys had way more opportunities. Were playing a lot more minutes than he was. If Dylan Harper is on any other team in this league, he's right there in that conversation because his rookie year was remarkable. I don't think enough people paid attention. Now they're seeing, and everybody's starting to talk about him. But you're exactly right. We had a game in New Orleans early on in the season. He made the game winner like 2 seconds left in the game. A little floater right hand off the glass over the defense, and he's a lefty. He's taking a game-winning shot with his offhand. We've seen him dunk on 2 or 3 or 4 7-footers this year. He's super explosive. He's listed at 6'5", plays bigger than that. He's got a big body. So many times this year, Tommy, I saw him dominate other guards that have been in the league for a long time. And I'm talking about some of these guards had all defensive teams on their resume, and he went right at them and was undeterred. He's a brilliant finisher at the rim. The second half of the season, he was probably our best three-point shooter. He was our best three-point shooter percentage-wise the second half of the season. And so in the big moments, it seems like it doesn't bother him. Like, pressure, what pressure? Like, I'm just out here balling. And he'll tell you the same thing. He's an extremely confident young man. I think he knows how good he's going to be. And he's also one that just puts in all the work, puts in all the work.
What did you think about the NBA's decision not to upgrade Wemby's shove on Brunson to a flagrant foul? Did you think it was a flagrant? I'm surprised they missed it, to be honest. That's a hard one to miss if you're an official, but they missed it. And I get it. Like, if you're a big, sometimes you're just like, I've had enough. It doesn't mean it's not a foul. And by the way, Jalen Brunson was grabbing his jersey. So it's like, I've seen it with Shaq. Sometimes they just get pissed off and they've had enough. They just missed it. They were looking elsewhere. They didn't see it. Were you surprised it didn't get upgraded? I don't know if I was surprised or not.
No. Maybe a technical foul.
Yeah.
Not a flagrant.
Yeah.
We grew up in an era where if you got a flagrant foul, like you earned it. Like, whoa, that was a flagrant foul.
We didn't have flagrant fouls.
There you go.
People just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, right. I mean, clotheslined, whatever. You're getting taken elbows to the head all the time in the pain. I mean, come on. And so, no flagrant foul. I mean, if they wanted to call it technical, that's a whole different thing. But that didn't surprise me at all. I think you make that announcement, so you look into it, and we're gonna look at it. But I mean, come on, no.
By the way, what was the biggest hit you took in your career?
Too many to name. I had to get my ear stitched up one year because Mutombo hit me with an elbow, and that was I had to go to the locker room and get stitches on my ear, and then I was in there in the locker room, and then Dave came back in the locker room too because Mutombo hit him. So it's like we were both back there in triage, just getting stitched up. I mean, Akeem, Karl Malone, John Stockton would hit you. I mean, Stockton. I mean, who wouldn't inflict some punishment in the paint when you're trying to set screens and all that? I mean, that's too many hits to name.
That was standard operating procedure back in the day.
Yes,
Although who used to always get me, and he didn't do it on purpose. He just was a little, I don't want to say clumsy, but his elbows. Bill Cartwright always freaking got me for some reason. I get an elbow like just out of nowhere. Be like, where'd that come from? Like hit me in the side of the face, or his hips were sharp too. Like he was just sharp. I was like, I don't want to guard Bill. Just let me guard somebody else.
Bill Cartwright was probably doing that on purpose, man. He acted like it was an accident. You know who did that? Who used to beat me up all the time was Jerome Kersey. My rookie year, played him in the playoffs, and I got tired of this brother. I was like, man, and he wasn't really talking loud. He was kind of talking under his breath, but boy, he was punishing me that series. I was taking shots every time down the floor. And then when he played with us in 99, he was on that 99 championship team. I mean, I couldn't love a dude more. He was I was like, who are you? Because in the locker room practice, he was the kindest, gentlest soul there was. But man, my rookie year, I hated that guy. He was beating me down.
Yeah, Jerome was rocked up. Jerome was rocked up.
We called him Manimal.
Manimal.
He one time he was upset at how he was playing, and no one had to say anything to him. We came in the locker room at halftime. He didn't like how he was playing, and he ripped a metal bathroom door off its stall. Imagine that. Yeah. I mean, that's inhuman strength, man. That's inhuman.
I was a different league back then.
Yeah,
it was a different. You know what I've noticed? I'm curious. Doesn't it seem like guys like the league? I don't think the league is as physical as it was, but it's getting more physical than it was 4 or 5 years ago. But in different ways, they don't let you chuck guys and hit guys that are cutting. But man, they let you grab and hold guys now and get into guys and make it tough to cut. Have you noticed that when you're watching the games? Because it seemed like whatever happened to freedom of movement, that seems to have gone the way of the dodo, so to speak.
Well, all us old guys were complaining about the lack of physicality. It was more like ballet than basketball, and now we're getting that, and the fans are getting it, and now we're all complaining about it, right? There is a lot of holding, there is a lot of grabbing, especially come the playoffs. I mean, there's been a lot of holding and grabbing in this series by both teams. I mean, I hear our fan base complain about it. I hear the Knicks fan base complain about it. So both teams are doing the best to get away with what they can and getting physical into players. And I don't mind that, as long as it doesn't become, where there's too much animosity and you have guys that are, wanting to have fake fights and you have reviews and all this stuff. That I always say it's much ado about nothing. No one's fighting in this league. We're not going to see that. We're going to see a lot of chest bumping, like World Cup soccer, and so I don't mind the physicality. I like the struggle to score, as opposed to having the rails just greased for the offense where you can get to the basket at will.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. couple of years ago when every game was 138 to 132.
Yeah.
I told people I like ice cream. I don't like it a gallon at a time.
Yeah,
I was like, that was too much offense. But I'm with you.
Correct.
Let the defense have a chance and let them get after it a little bit. All right, let's get your keys for tonight's game. What does San Antonio have to do to even this thing up and get back to San Antonio 2-2?
I think we're gonna have to come out the same way we did in Game 3. We're gonna have to weather the storm, and that's what we did. I thought we weathered the storm early. The Garden was rocking early, but our guys took the crowd out of the game a little bit, silenced them, and then when they got it going there in the second quarter, our guys came out in the third, got after them again, silenced that crowd, kind of took them out of the game, and then never really let them back in the game. So that's going to be huge for us. In our wins during the postseason, we've done a great job taking care of the basketball. I think we had 6 turnovers the other night, 6 or 7. Wasn't very many. And so if we take care of the basketball, and we just got to play with a little bit more poise. I thought there in the fourth quarter, coming down the stretch when we had the lead and we felt like, okay, this game is ours, our guys sped up a little bit, took 2 shots in the open court where I felt we could have brought it out a little bit, run some offense instead of going 1-on-2 or 1-on-3, where still half your team isn't across half court. There were a couple passes that were shaky. So we got a little sped up there. Maybe it was nerves. Maybe it was a little bit of our inexperience. But if we play with poise, we come out, we weather the storm early on, I think we'll be just fine.
Yeah, I thought the key to last game was the way you guys came out in the third quarter. Because the second quarter, New York just blitzed you guys. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, God, here we go again. We got off to a good start. Now we're down at halftime. And if they score the first 8 coming out of the break, then it's going to be tough. But you guys got right back into it, tied the game up, then took the lead. And I think that gave them a lot of confidence. Like, hey, we can do this. We should do this. We're better. I think they feel like they're better than them. Whether they are or not, we'll find out. But I think the Spurs have done a great job on Brunson, making it tough on him. Do you think they'll stick with that and let guys like Anunoby and Hart beat them? Although they almost beat them last game. They had a great game.
Anunoby had a great game. Yeah,
he did. And Hart was hitting shots. I'd almost be willing to say, look, if those guys beat us, tip your cap. Let's just make sure Brunson didn't beat us. And so far, they've done a great job defensively on him.
Right, but that's kind of old school NBA basketball. Make somebody else beat you besides the stars, right? And so you look at our last series in the Western Conference Finals, you had 7 games against SGA. You had 7 games to kind of get a rhythm for that Jalen Brunson type guard who's going to dominate the basketball. You try to get the ball out of his hands and you make somebody else out on the floor beat you besides the guy who will beat you. And so I thought we did a great job switching with him, trapping whenever we had a chance to trap him, get the ball out of his hands. There are a few times where he held the ball for a long time, then he tosses it back out. The Knicks don't have enough time to really operate on the offensive end of the floor. I'd like to see a lot more of that where we just, like you said, take the ball out of his hands, or you play him tough, contested, like a guy like Steph Castle, where he can stay in front of him, make every shot difficult. If you do that, it puts a lot of pressure on the Knicks offense. Yeah.
All right. Before I let you go, I've asked a few people this question. I think it's 7 years now, or maybe 8 international players have won the MVP. Wemby's got some coming. Luka's probably got maybe 1, maybe more. Who knows? Who's the next American player that wins the MVP in the NBA?
That's going to be a hard one. That's a tough one because Victor Wembanyama's here, and I think it's going to be
he's here.
It's going to be his to lose. I think over, however, unless people get voter fatigue, like they did with Michael a little bit, and it's like, okay, Victor's won 3 in a row, and this other guy's having a great year. It's his turn, And so for me, when I look at American players, I look at some of the young guys, and I see 2 young guys on our team, but they're playing with Victor Wembanyama. I mean,
that ain't happening.
I think if you had Dylan Harper on another team, Steph Castle on another team, they have a shot. But when I think of I mean, you'd have to remind me of the young American players that are coming.
What about Cooper Flagg?
Yeah, he's a possibility for sure. I saw him late in the year. Very, very impressed with his game.
He's good.
Very impressed. I got to say. I believe all the hype with him. There's no question.
He's a stud.
Yeah, he's a stud. I would say that that would be
maybe Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. They have to win more. They have to win more. They can't be sixth in the West. They've got to, every year they've got to be, win the MVP. You got to be in the top 2 in the West, top 2 in the East. My opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. And here's the thing, Sean, and I look at this with Wembanyama. It reminds me a little bit of Ohtani in that, look, Ohtani, just because he hits and pitches, has such an advantage over everyone else when it comes to the MVP award. If he's like really good at both of them, you can't beat it. He doesn't have to be great at both of them. You can't beat the guy because he pitches and he hits, and no one else can do that. I think Victor Wembanyama is going to reset the record book in terms of defensive player of the years. Those are just going to be like every year, like defensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. So he's already got the defense going for him. And he's going to be probably the best in the league, if not right near the top every. Offensively, he just has to be good. And now you're looking at a player that can't match what he does on both ends of the court. I think he's going to be better than good. I think he's going to be great a lot of years. I agree with you. I think you could be looking at a guy that gets 5, 6, like Jordan and Kareem. I think you could be looking at a run like that for a guy like Wembanyama because he plays both ends of the court so spectacularly.
Yeah, and his offense is only going to get better. I've seen him grow offensively over these first 3 seasons, and he's, you look at his frame too. You were talking about it earlier, Tommy. He's put on, I want to say 30 pounds since his rookie year, but it's hard to tell because his frame is so long, and he's going to continue to put on weight. Not even purposely. It's just, it's Mother Nature. I mean, who amongst us has our 22-year-old body? There's a difference between being 22 and 25, 26, 28. Yeah, he's going to fill out more. He's going to get stronger, much stronger, and he's going to get an even better feel for the game. So it's going to be tough goings for a lot of players, a lot of teams in this league when he really, really reaches his potential.
The Wembanyama era has started, hasn't it?
It has started, and you know what? He could put an exclamation point on all of this if we end up winning this series, because I mean, listen, I've told my friends this. You have a team, and it happened to us a few years back when the Spurs won 20 in a row, and that was including the first round of the playoffs. They swept, and then they won the first 2 against Oklahoma City. Then they ended up losing the next 4. All you need to do is break that streak, and when you break that streak, it's hard for a team that has been on a winning streak to all of a sudden find it magically again, to get back on that conveyor belt of wins. And so if the Knicks don't get back on that conveyor belt of wins, our guys, and you talked about it just a minute or 2 ago, our guys are confident. They know they could have won game 1, should have won game 2 at home. You win game 3. Our guys feel like they're the better team. They're that confident, and they believe in each other, and they have the ability to come out and win the next 2 or 3 or 4, next 2 or 3. And so if that happens, I mean, not only is the Victor Wembanyama here, there's an exclamation point when you win a title in your 3rd year.
Yeah. All right, before I let you go, because you know this, I got to ask you this, because I've been saying this forever. Everybody always says in an NBA, like 7-game series, I love the dramatic, right? The dramatic flips of the narrative each and every game. Like, oh God, this team's got pressure on them now. This team's got, and I always say this, and you won a finals, so you would know. I always say every game has pressure on it. You only got to get to 4. It's only a 7-game series. It's not like there's one game in that 7 where you're like, we're good. We had no pressure on this game. We'll just go out there and play. Yeah. Like I always say, like every game has pressure on it. Like the Spurs feel pressure tonight because they could go down 3-1. The Knicks feel pressure because they could be 2-2 all of a sudden, and now the Spurs have home court over the next 3 games. Like You were in it. Did you feel like, hey, there's the same amount of pressure every game here because we just got to get to 4 or they got to get to 4?
Yeah. And, I've heard people ask, which game is most important in the playoff series? The next one.
The next one.
It's like, which game is most important? Game 7 Game 7 is not important if you lose in 5. So it's the next game that's the most important. That has the most pressure. And you look at the Knicks. We came here and the whole city was buzzing, and they were expecting a coronation tonight. They thought it was going to be a 4-game sweep, and they're going to win the title on their floor Wednesday night. And imagine if we beat them tonight in the Garden, and it's 2-2. Now you have so much pressure on that ball club because we know how the media works. You know how it works. The New York media, all the talking heads are going to be on TV saying, "Look at this. This could be the biggest collapse we've ever seen." Blah 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 blah, and they're going to put all the pressure on that Knicks ball club.
And it's only 2 games. It's like, how can you get how many times have the Knicks or the Spurs won 2 games in a row this NBA season? A lot. That's why it cracks me up. Everybody overreacts in terms of a 7-game series. Everything good? Family good?
Everything's good. I honestly, I was just waiting for the next animal that you were going to pop up. I mean,
well, you saw Lou. You saw Lou.
I saw
the rabbit. You saw the dog.
I saw the dog. I hear the koi pond going in the back.
You did. It's not a koi pond. It's just a damn little fountain. I don't have kois.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Although it's funny you mentioned that. Next door neighbor has kois. He has some big ass kois. They're like 16-pound kois. They're like huge.
I was expecting you to bring a big carp out next thing and put that on your lap. It's like, what is this? Old McDonald? You got a farm?
It's old McDonald. Well, just off the camera, you just missed my cat that was walking by too. So.
I saw the cat. Didn't you put the cat up?
That was a bunny I put up.
It was a bunny.
You may have seen the cat. I don't think I put the cat up. Yeah, we got a bunny. We got 2 cats and a dog. So yes, it is a Chevy Chase Animal Farm over here is what we got going on. Hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on and spending a little time. I know you're probably getting ready to head over to the Garden now. So have a great call tonight, and it was great catching up with you, Sean.
Yeah, always good to see you, brother. Always good to see you.
Love you, pal.
You're the man.
All right, see you, Sean.
See you.
All right, that was I love that guy. He's such a fun teammate. Such fun years at Arizona. Me and him and Anthony Cook and Bushler and Craig McMillan, Craig Bergman, Steve Kerr, Kenny Lofton. It was such a fun team. Such a fun team. It would have been nice if it had ended with a win, but oh well. What are you gonna do, Lou? Oklahoma took us down. God, and I read too with Stacey King, he fell. Or Stacey fell at his house, and oh God. I think I talked a little bit about this last show, but what a tragedy. Like what a bummer, man. It just, I don't know. I mean, that people die all the time and all around the world, and in the time I've done this show, probably thousands of people have died. I get it. But man, when you played against somebody and you know somebody and they're in the NBA community, this kind of hits you. And so anyway, bummer. But that was a good team though. Still should have beat them. Lou, you got some good FaceTime today, Lou. You got some great FaceTime today. You got to see Jon Wilner. You got to see Sean Elliott. You're like having fun. Lou's on fire today. We're just definitely having a good time. What time is it? It's like 1. It's not even close to 2 yet. And give me a break. Who are you, Simba? Are you the Lion King on top of the rock? No, that doesn't mean come lick me. There you go. Here, look out here. Do your Simba. Look over here. Remember when Jon Wilner was on and you looked over here? No, stop. Just stop. I know. All right, we're going to get out of here. I mean, tonight's game, all these games just seem like they turn on so little. I would imagine San Antonio is going to go back to Garden Cat with a small on a lot of the possessions. I think that was a really good move. Again, it allows someone to get up underneath Cat, takes away his ability to drive because whoever is guarding him is smaller, can move their feet and cut off his driving lanes. And then it gives Wembanyama a chance to just roam. Roam if you want to. And you want to talk about a devastating roamer? That guy's a devastating roamer. You got to keep an eye on that guy at all times, or your shot is going to get pasted right up against the window. So I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I'd like to see the Spurs win. I mean, I'd like to see him win anyway, just because Sean worked for the Spurs, and I want to see, Sean be a part of it, even though Sean's won one as a player. Not like he needs another one. And Pop and all that. So, for me, growing up on the West Coast, it's just hard to root for anything New York. It is. I don't really have anything against them. Well, except for the idiots that are tearing jerseys off guys' backs, walking home from the watch parties. I mean, come on. Come on. Really? And who knows if they're Knicks fans or if they're just hooligans out on the street, but you're idiots. And I love the fact they're all filming it. So now everyone can go to jail that was involved in it because you'll put it on social media. Like, how stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? Let's film an illegal activity. Hey, look, it was me. I'm right there. It started on the insurrection. Everybody filming themselves going to the White House. Look, it's me. I just broke the window. I just took a bat to that book stand. Hey, I should put this on Facebook. Yeah. How many people? I want to know how many people get caught nowadays by putting stuff up on social media, thinking it's cool, whatever the crime may be. Like, let's put it on social media and show how funny this is and see how much engagement we can get and see how many clicks we can get and see how many impressions we can get and see how many, wait a minute, did somebody just knock on my door? Hold on a second. Let me go answer the door. It's the police. Oh, no. How did you know it was me? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. That's how we knew it was you. Oh, you guys look at that stuff? And amazing. But those people are fucking idiots. I mean, everybody that was attacking someone with a Spurs jersey on should be flogged, taken out and beaten. Period. Go draconian on them, okay? Eye for an eye type stuff. And like, if you're a Spurs person, and I don't know how any of this played out because they just showed them ripping the jersey off of them. Like, be smart about this. I'm not saying don't wear a jersey if you don't want to. I wouldn't blame you after that. And I don't know that you were taunting. Anybody was taunting anybody. Don't do that. Like, don't. It's like a mob of people that are, so maybe some of them are bitter. Some of them are looking for a reason. And if you feel like you want to like jaw with them, chip, 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 how about that? 2-1, oh, sucker. Don't do that. Just take your win, move on, go back to your hotel room. That's it. And hopefully, I would hope people will be a little more civilized after tonight's game. Even if the Knicks lose, I doubt it. Although I would expect more police presence at watch parties, more people out looking for the mobs after the game tonight. So we'll see. But it's a game. It's a freaking game. Let the participants battle. Let them be physical. Not you. Enjoy the game, move on. Okay? Right? Enjoy the game, move on. I know. What are we going to do today? Nice and warm. Oh, he is. Sohan is guaranteed to win a ring this year. Nice. I'm assuming he'd rather have one with the team he's on right now, but who knows? Maybe he's going full double agent. They could put him in the game to go double agent on him. And so, all right. Any comments before we get out of here? If you want to throw some comments up there, you want to talk about the game tonight, Giants down again last night. I don't even really feel like no, and no. Okay. Not gonna do it. So stop. Come on. That's enough. All right. Yeah, I've heard that. I've never listened to him on the Bulls call on this, but I heard he was like really good, funny. I know the fans enjoyed him. It's just, yeah, sucks. Just 59 years of age. Just, what are you going to say? About all you can say. And so, I'll be there. I will be at the games. I'm not ready for the season to start, though. Give me a summer. Let me get to my football games this year. Let me get to my my sports trip that we're taking this year. Seattle is our sports trip this year, so that'll be fun. Niners, Seattle. Oh, speaking of Niners, did anybody see the latest installment of "I'm So Stupid, but I Can't Hide It" by Brandon Ayuk? Like, what are you doing? Are you calling the Niners stupid for signing him and giving him his? What are you doing? Like, really? Like, somebody tackle that guy. Like, if you know him, you're a friend of his, you care about him in any way, shape, or form, tackle that man. Tackle him and take away his phone. I'm telling him. Like, is there anybody out there that thinks there's a GM in football that thinks that's funny, that thinks that's cool, that thinks, you know what, we really need to get that guy on our roster now, not yesterday, not later, but sooner. That guy's he makes way too much sense. Let's put that what's happened over the last 3 days that he's come out of his hole and decided to start posting on Instagram. Like, I don't know what happened. Does he think this is going to push? This is going to push it like he's going to be moving toward the end zone. Like, I need a resolution, and what's going to happen with the Niners? This will make that happen. This will make them want to release me. Like, buddy, like what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I again, and can somebody come up with a Brandon Ayuk closed captioning so I know what the hell's going on? I'm having a hard time following the plot line. Okay, he loses me sometimes. I don't know what the hell he's talking about sometimes. I mean, typical Sun Devil, I get it, but I'd like to be able to follow along occasionally. And for those that are wondering, no, I don't follow him on Instagram. Somebody else does, and they just pop up on Twitter. If you think I'm actively going to his Instagram page and seeing what he has to say, well, then you don't know me. So, yeah, I'm sure Kyle and John would love to come over to my backyard to talk about Brandon Ayuk for 30 minutes. They would love that. Although I still have the Tito's. In my refrigerator, and I think I still have a blueberry Red Bull, which I think will probably stay here until next year. We made a plan, do it again next year, so I'll just save it until next year. I'll save the half bottle of Tito's and the blueberry Red Bull. You're right. Lou has been an absolute camera hog today. Absolute camera hog. Like, I'm not sure what the deal is, but you're just like, you want your own YouTube channel? Well, get your own YouTube channel. Call it Ludo. Ludo on YouTube. Ludo on YouTube. No, that doesn't mean. Stop. It's too much. Too much. Okay. See, this is what happens. You start paying attention to her a little bit and giving her a little bit of love, and then she's gonna go crazy. She's gonna go nuts. All right, we're out of here. The rest of the week, Drew Amanda, Dave Fleming. So we'll talk a little hockey. We got a 2-2 series. I mean, that series has been amazing. I hope you're watching it. I hope you're enjoying it. And I wanted another correction for me. When I said the Knights player that was wearing the full cage was Madden. I don't know why I said that, but I did. I remember saying it. I don't like getting stuff wrong. I get stuff wrong. Hey, I'm apologizing. Stop. It's McNabb, Brandon McNabb. So he's the one wearing the full cage. What time is it? It's not even close to 2. It's like 1 o'clock. Stop. So McNabb's the one that's wearing the cage for the Knights. But I mean, it's amazing. One team gets out to a lead, another team comes back, and then they decide it in the third period or overtime. I've had a blast watching that series. So I can't wait to talk to Drew tomorrow and get his thoughts on the Stanley Cup Finals. And then Dave Fleming will join us. We'll talk a little Giants, talk a little MLB. I'm pretty pumped though. My Angels going for the number 1 draft pick next year. So that's how bad they are. That's how bad they are. Although they did take down the Astros last night. Astros stink too. But yeah, with the Giants, I just don't know. Like, I don't know what they do, who they are, what I don't know. I don't know. The bullpen's not very good. Starting pitching's okay. Hitting's hit or miss. Jung-Hoo Lee's been fun to watch. Elder's been fun to watch. But, and the City Connect uniforms are heinous. They're terrible. I mean, what are we doing? I know it's an ode to the graffiti. They're awful. They're just awful. So anyway, hey Kit, look at that. I got one of the kitties to come out here and join me, and you don't see Kit. Oh, World Cup. Thank you, Andis. I appreciate that. No, I mean, look, I'm going to watch the World Cup. I think it's USA Paraguay 6 o'clock Friday. I'll definitely be locked into that. If you guys want to talk, like, I'm all ears. But I don't know enough about like soccer to really get into it. But I will be into it, and I'll watch all the games. I got to make some sort of wager on it. I'm not betting on USA to win. Maybe I'll take Germany. Maybe I'll take Germany to win. I don't want to take Spain. They're the favorite. Portugal is one of the favorites. I think England's the second favorite. Who else was up there? Brazil. I think that was the top 4. England, Brazil, Portugal, and Spain. So I don't want those 4. So I figured I'd go. Germany's like 14-1. Figure maybe I'll go Germany. Just for the heck of it. I went there last year. It's the only reason I have. Maybe take USA to get out of the stage or out of the group. But no, I'll watch it. It's just I don't know enough about it. Like I don't know. I know who the teams are. I know who some of the players are. Not a lot of the players. So I can't. I'm not really going to offer much when it comes to the World Cup. Although I'll talk about it. I'll talk about the games when they happen. But as far as analysis and what the teams need to do and who the players are and that kind of stuff, I'm sorry, I don't have much for you. And I like watching it. I like watching the Premier League and I like watching some of the games, but I just don't have much for you in that regard, but it will be fun. It is the not the damn UFC White House card. I can't. First off, okay, look, I do want to go, but I can't believe you just brought that up. What in the shit are we doing? Having UFC on the White House lawn? Like what? Like what? Like I get it. Trump and Dana White, perfect. Like a perfect marriage. But I mean, like we're doing this. We're doing this. Is that going to get in the way of the ballroom construction, or has that even started? Has it stopped? I know the Kennedy Center said no, you can't have your name on the Kennedys. Like I'm serious. Is Trump going to try to rename a state after him? Like, is Maryland going to be Trumpiland? Like, are we going to? I'm surprised he hasn't done that. I mean, I'll give him this. He doesn't hide it. He's just like, I don't care. You're going to know my name after I get done out of office. We're going to have a Trump ballroom. We're going to have are they going to take down the UFC cage, or is going to leave it up there for the next president? Like, hey, just in case you want a UFC card, like, I got a cage for you outside. You get out there. Like, they're actually having a UFC card on the White House lawn. I mean, it's definitely on brand. There's no doubt about that. It's definitely on brand. And it doesn't shock me in that it's happening. It shocks me that, like, it's happening. Like, in a micro with Trump as a president, it doesn't surprise me. In the macro, like, did you ever think like anything like would they do a UFC on the White House lawn? Like, you'd go, of course they wouldn't. What are you talking? What? Why would you even ask me something like that? Why would you? Why? And then they're going to do it. I don't even know who's on the card. I'm sure I'll watch it. I'm sure I'll watch it. And it'll be interesting to see who's at the event. But I'm guessing, I don't know. It's part of what, like USA 250 birthday. Like, it's got to be around July 4th, right? Like July 4th. Yeah. They're gonna finish the ballroom. The WWE will take over. Steel cage match. Hell in a Cell. Let's bring back the Undertaker and Foley. We can do a Hell in a Cell in the ballroom. That would be amazing. I'm surprised they don't have a professional laser tag event in the White House. Like, just dudes running around, like playing Navy SEAL games in the White House. Like, just rent it out for a night. Like, nothing's off the table. Nothing is off the table with Trump. I mean, it really isn't. And again, I'm like half kidding when I say I'm surprised he hasn't tried to rename a state for himself, at least a city for himself. Like, the man's ego is just wild. It's a wild ego. And I'm not even getting into the politics of it. Like him, don't like him, whatever. I don't really even care. But even people that like him have to admit, like, this guy's ego is wild. It's just a wild ego. He's like, oh, yeah. Let's do that. Let's totally do that. Can we rename the White House the Trump House? The Trump White House. How about the White House brought to you by Trump? How about that? The White House brought to you by Trump. Whatever happened to his water, by the way? The most luxurious water in the history of waters. Did it ever? I don't know. I don't think Trump water ever took off. Like, he actually thought Trump water, like, people were going to go into a convenience store and go, I don't know, Evian, Smart Water, I don't know. Oh, they got that Trump water. Like, there's nothing about that makes me think I want to quench my thirst with Trump water. And I would have said the same about Obama water or Clinton water or Bush water. Just none of it makes me think like, yeah, I'm going to bypass all this other stuff and go for that. Go for the presidential water. That being said, I'll probably watch it. Much like a 2014 playoff, I think it's stupid. We don't need it. I'll probably watch it. I really hope they don't get it. And give us some more football games in September. You goofballs. Give us some good games in September. There should be all kinds of good games in September. It just, I don't know. I don't know. The money's so big now, everybody wants to make the playoffs to partake in that money, and they're scared to lose. I thought it'd be the other way around. Hey, we could lose a game or two now so we can actually play a big-time opponent. Yeah, but what if we lose? They don't think about the benefits of winning. What if we lose? Then we can't get that money. Not even about winning a national championship as far as the school's concerned. It's, let's just get that money. Let's get in on that money. So, anyway. All right, anything else? You guys have sidetracked me. I was like so ready to move on. And you got me thinking about Ayuk, and you got me thinking about UFC on the White House lawn. Maybe Ayuk should talk about the UFC card that night and talk about his thoughts on UFC on the White House lawn. In closed caption, please, so we get it. It's not like I don't understand the words that he's saying. I get the words. I just don't understand them like together, what they're trying to elicit. I don't know. And again, if you do love Brandon Ayuk, you're a friend of Brandon Ayuk's, tackle the man. Tackle the man. Take his phone away. Deactivate his IG account for his own good. If he thinks this is helping, he's way wrong. Way, like as far wrong as you could be. Like wherever right is, he's as far away from right as you could possibly be. Very good. Thank you, Ogden. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh. All right. Do we have anything else? Anything else you guys want to get to? I'll make the screen small and I'll check. Because you guys did remind me of Stacey King last show, and I appreciate that. I want to make sure there's nothing I'm stop. Oh God. All right, let's get out of here. You guys have been fantastic as always. Thank you very much for joining the show. Again, tomorrow I think Drew Amenda, Friday Dave Fleming. So in the next couple of days, one way or the other, we'll have some hockey and we'll have some baseball for you. Until then, see you.
And remember this, Tommy T, cash and tickets is what it's all about.